here we are. This is a great site I found. It's called addthis.com, addthis.com, and this will allow us for free, and it's quite easy as well, to add a share button to our websites or blogs. So let's go ahead and have a go at doing this. So first of all, we can see over here we've got select your service. So today I'm going to add this to one of my websites. So I'm clicking on website here, and you get a choice of buttons that you'd like to use. We've got this one, which is quite basic. This one's got some extra images here, but I like this top one here, so I'm going to stick with that. Click along to number 3. Do you want analytics? And you've got no, just give me the button, or yes, track the performance of my button, but this requires registration. So today all we're going to do is just add the button, and then if you want to, you can come back, register and track the analytics. So as we've chosen those 3 there we want, now we're done. So we can get our button. So we click on here. Okay, so here we are. It's giving us some instructions of what we need to do, and down here it's also giving us some HTML code that we need to put into our site. If we can see here, it's telling us that we need to copy and paste this code, and we need to put it in between the body tags on our website. So what we want to do is we want to copy the code. So if we click on here, it will copy it, and it's copied. What I like to do with any code that I'm given, or any references or logins and all that sort of information, I like to save these and keep a file of these. So use a program like Notepad if you're on a PC. If you're using a Mac like I am, we have a program that's pre-installed called TextEdit, and that will allow us just to save little notes for ourselves. So I'm going to open TextEdit, and here it is, and I'm just going to paste that. So seeing as I have copied that already, if I click Control V on a PC or Command V on a Mac, it will just paste what I have copied into this notepad. So there it is, it's copied the HTML code for my button into the notepad, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that now on my desktop so that we can come back to it in a minute, but you want to file it away somewhere on the computer where you know where you've got it saved so you can come back to it at any time. Okay, so that's saved that. So now let's close this down. Here we are on my desktop. It's saved that little note for me just above Gemma's head. Add this button, HTML. What I want to do now is I want to click on that and just keep that open there for a moment. But we now need to go into our website. So what I'm going to do now is I'm using a program called Composer. We're going to go into Composer and we're going to add the button to our site. So bear with me just for the moment. Okay, so here we are in Composer, and we're looking at one of our websites. This is a website I've designed, and I want to add the Add This button. Now what I would suggest we do is we can add that Add This button as many times as we want. Obviously we don't want loads of them, but what I like to do is I like to have one at the top and also one at the bottom once people have scrolled down and had a look at what we've got content on our site. So wherever we want to add the Add This button, we want to add some X's. So let's have a look. I'm going to put one here just at the very top of the site. So I'm going to put a big round of X's there, and then I'm going to scroll down here to the base of the site, and somewhere here I want to add that button. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little area there, and I'm going to add a load of X's there as well. Now this is the part that can be tricky, but adding these X's has made it a lot easier. So what we're going to do now is we want to go over to the source code. Now some of Composer versions may look slightly different because obviously I'm using a Mac version. If you're using a Windows version, the layout might be slightly different, so you just need to have a quick look to make sure that you've got the layout correct, or you're in the sort of similar area to what I am now. But this is just the normal view. I'm now going to go into the source view where it's going to change what looks relatively sort of simple into something that looks incredibly confusing. There we are. So here we are with our alien code, and it reminds me slightly of a few years ago. I was lucky enough to go to Cairo, to the pyramids, and it looks very similar to some of those hieroglyphics that we saw there that I didn't understand then. So what we're looking for are the 2 rows of X's that we made. Now the first row was towards the top of the page, and the second row was towards the bottom of the page. So first of all, we're going to look for that first row of X's, and I promise you it's not going to be as complicated as it may appear here, and we're going to hold hands, we're going to get through this, and we're going to produce a very effective Add This button that will allow us to share our content throughout the World Wide Web. So let's scroll down and go and find the first row of X's that we made. And here we are. I've found my X's. Marvellous. Now see, they're hidden, so sometimes you've got to go quite slowly, because if you go too fast you won't find them. So all we're interested in here is this row of X's. So what we're going to do is highlight those by left clicking our mouse button just before them, and then dragging with the left mouse button click down to the end of the X's. There we are. We're not interested in anything else. We don't want to highlight anything else because that could cause things to go slightly wrong, and we're not doing that today. So now we've got our X's highlighted, what we need to do is go back to our note that we made saved with our HTML code, and here we are, and there she is. Doesn't she look beautiful? So what we want to do is we want to copy this. So what you do is, once again, holding down your left mouse button, drag it over the contents that you want to copy, release the left mouse button, and now you can press Ctrl C if you're using a PC, or Command C if you're using a Mac, and that will copy the content that you've highlighted onto the temporary memory of the computer. Alternatively, if you don't like doing it that way, once you've highlighted the text you want, if you go up to Edit, you can copy. See here, copy, click on that, lovely, copied. Right, now what we want to do is click back to our Composer or HTML editor. We've got our X's selected there. Now to copy our HTML code into where all these X's are, we can either again press Ctrl V or Command V, and that will then paste where the X's are the HTML code that we copied. Alternatively, like we did with the note, we can go to Edit again and we can go to Paste. So if I click this, well, hey, you will see that the X's have now been replaced by the section of code that we had highlighted. So we're halfway there. We've got another row of X's to locate and to change. So let's continue to scroll down. Remember, we're not interested in any of this. Let's scroll down looking for our X's. Remember, we're only looking for our X's. All of this other stuff will only confuse me, so I'm not going to look too much detail in any of that. We're going to keep looking down until we see our final row of X's, which should be near the bottom because we put them at the bottom of the page, and there they are. Fantastic. So once again, holding down our left mouse button, we click at the beginning of the X's and we scroll all the way along to the bit that we want to highlight. There we are. Now, we already have saved in the computer's memory HTML code that we want to insert. So we don't need to go back into it to copy. We can either press the Command V again or Control V if we are using a PC. And you can also do it this way by going to Edit and going to Paste. And there we are. So we've replaced the two rows of X's with the HTML code for our Add This button. I want to come out of this source code and I want to go back to the design view of my site to see how my Add This buttons are looking, and hopefully they've worked. So here we are, moment of truth. Let's click on the design button here and let's have a look down the bottom. Here we are. We have a marvelous Add This button, and if we scroll at the top we should have one, and there it is, looking absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to publish this so it's online and live, and then we can have a look and see what it looks like. So bear with me a second while I just do that. Okay, so I've published that quickly using the publish facility on Composer here. Now let's go back to Firefox, and there's the Add This button. Let's have a look now. I'm going to type in the URL of the site that I've added the Add This button to. Give it a second to load up. There's my site, and if we scroll down, looking marvellous there is my Add This button, and let's just make sure the other one down at the bottom is there. That's fantastic. And as I can see now, if I was here as a visitor to my site, I'd think that this looks absolutely fantastic and I should share this with everybody that I know in the world. So I'd click on Twitter here and I'd share that with everyone via my Twitter account. So I hope you go ahead, add some share buttons to your sites and your blogs, and hopefully get some more traffic and start making some sales. So guys, thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.